Well, hi folks. Well, back at Sigel South, and I'm glad to be here. I will tell you though that our summer at Sigel North was the best that we've ever had. Now we've been going north for 20 years. I used to pull a quickie when I first went to work at the post office many eons ago. Most of the postal employees were World War II vets, and I went in '67. So these old boys, they were getting close to retirement, and I was on the cusp of an employment bulge because they need growth because they needed to replace these guys. Well, time went along, and in early to mid '70s, they retired off. A few of them lasted almost into the '80s, but no, they didn't. I'd say by the mid '70s they were all gone, and there was me, old junior grade Richard, at the top of the seniority list. Now, I worked for the post office for 37 years. And for over 15 of those years, maybe 20, I was at the top of the seniority list. It was just the luck of the draw that it came out that way. So what this allowed me to do, one of the benefits you got at the post office if you worked there long enough was you get 30 days a year off vacation. Just included sick leave, but the 30 days a year was, most people took it 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, I started hitting on the idea that you could actually carry 60 days over. If you didn't take your vacation in 1 year, then the next year you had 60 days. Well, here I was, Mr. Seniority, top of the seniority, and about every other year I would not take any vacation. Come the next year, there's the vacation list up on the wall. I'd go over and I'd hit July and August, take it all, which upset some folks. But I was the top senior guy. It was just one of the little perks that went along. I could take all I wanted, so I did. And what Tiana and I did with 2 months off, 60 days, hey, we'd go to New York. And, we did this for a long time. And by the time I got close to retirement, I retired in '03. We were in the habit of either doing 30 or 60 days in Sigel North. And it was great. That's how we got into the RV park that you see the pictures of. We've been there in the present vehicle. I think we've been there about 8 years, and I think we've been there about 13 years. Which, if you do the count, it'll go back beyond 2003. So we were there, I retired in 2003, but we were in that park before that. We've been renting that spot where you see Sigel North 15, 18 years. Might not be that long, but in my memory, I've slept over the years, but it's been a long time. Anyway, this year, or last year, while we were up there, of course, we bought that little Kia. And what this did was that, as you all know, I'm a dialysis patient. And on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday that I had to go on dialysis, Tiana, she would be just stuck at Sigel North. I mean, I'm gone from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening. I mean, hey, it blows the day, and I got the only vehicle. So last year, we were driving down the street in Jamestown there, and there were some guys that had contracted with a local bank around there to get rid of some of their repos, and amongst the repos was that little Kia, and we bought it. And this year, of course, I used it up there last year for about a month before we came home. Hit a deer with it second day I had it. But this year, took you can probably notice, got my radio. Well, the chair's squeaky chair. See my radio back there. I'm a CB amateur guy. I got a lot of radios, so I took a couple of CB radios and some antennas that I got there, mag mount. As long as they don't make the top of the car's plastic, then it'll work. Anyway, take the mag mount, put it up the center, run a coax through the window, hook it up to the radio like an intercom. We drove both cars up there, talked to each other all the way up. Hey, look at that hog farm over there. Look at that beautiful home. Isn't it flat in Ohio? I mean, we just prattled all the way up there. Worked out well. And then we got there, and of course what it did was it allowed me to have a vehicle locked down all day when I went to dialysis on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it gave Tiana full freedom of motion. The way she moved. She did. She stayed gone all the time. It was great. And the real result of this, of course, was that the summer was fantastic. She had a lot of time to prognosticate with her Amish friends. She became closer, much closer to a lot of her Amish friends. It was just good. I'll tell you how good it was. There was a house that came up for sale up there. Beautiful house. I won't tell you how much it was, but it was over 100,000. Sat up on a ridge that overlooked this big, what looked Conowongo Valley. You guys that live up at Sigel North, you know where Conowongo Valley is. This 242 out of her, well, then on 62, 241 out of Randolph going over towards 62, and this thing sat up on a ridge, and just the vista was beautiful. House was built in I think 1900, big old 3-story thing. One of the biggest problems I had with it was that, of course, it would have broke us to buy the thing, but we'd had a house, we'd lived there, and of course I tried to impress upon my darling. She never did a winter in New York. And I told her, I said, sometimes it's like Fairbanks up here. I said, it's really cold. I mean, we'd have to spend a goodly amount of money just getting our wardrobe together so we could stand the cold days. But anyway, the other drawback was that as we looked into it, that the property taxes were $4,000 a year. Mercy snakes. Now we have essentially 17 acres over here by Shiloh Church, and then the house that we have here, which is acre and a half around the house, the land. So we probably got 21, 22 acres in toto, and our whole tax bill isn't anything remotely approaching that. So then, also, they have I think 13% income tax up there. Somebody correct me. I don't know. I don't live in New York. That figure comes to mind. Whatever it is, we don't have an income tax here in Texas. So we sat there and we looked at the property taxes, the potential income tax. It pretty well came to our mind that if we did this, which we probably could have afforded to do, we wouldn't have had any liquid funds to do anything other than just sit there and look at each other. I mean, all our fun money, the stuff like going to Sigel North and maybe buying an extra car and doing the things you like to, poof, all gone, be in that house. So, as beautiful as it was and as gorgeous as the grounds were, and we didn't do it. We really have the best of both worlds, and so the house did not get bought. But we had a lot of fun. Walking around it, drooling on it, talking to the owner, made them kind of think we were serious. They were very courteous. Showed us the whole joint, the well, you know, all the accoutrements. But then we didn't go back. And I'm not mistaken, I don't believe by the time we left, and we looked at it, I think, a month and a half before, you know, we still had a month and a half to go up there. It was still unsold. So, looks like they're going to have a problem. I don't think that $4,000 a year property tax be. Whew. So we didn't buy a house. I did buy a golf cart just before I left. Guy come up and said, "Hey, I got this golf cart, $600. Yeah, it's got a few little peccadillos, you know, it needs new tires, but it runs." So bought the golf cart. That'll be there waiting on me next year. That's gonna be nice. The park that we go to, Pope Haven, pretty sizable. I mean, I walk. I don't have any problems walking. I don't run anymore. I don't even walk fast, but I walk just to keep on walking. You know, a lot of people I saw buy a golf cart, they get to sit down in the golf cart, they never walk anymore. We've got one neighbor, bought a golf cart. She's, you know, maybe 30 yards away. She comes to our house, she gets in her golf cart and drives down where she used to walk. I'm going to try to not let that happen to me. Famous last words. But anyway, bought my golf cart. If the Zimbardis watch my thought for the day here, I want to reiterate that John and I went to school together. I went off to that end of the world and sold cars and, you know, dug ditches and just, I never had much of an aim. I usually made a good living, but I didn't have a career. John made himself a career. He became a beautician, and I think he also had his barber's license. And looks like he got just filthy rich. He did it real well. It could be, you know, beautician. It would have been his career. Anyway, he took the time to set up a get-together with myself and some of our schoolmates from that generation. We went out to John's place out at the Rod and Gun Club, and my darling wife finally decided that maybe the Rod and Gun Club was worthwhile. So she didn't think much of it because you got to go through Casey's junkyard to get to it. Any of you folks up there that live up there, in our mind's eye, Casey's junkyard is not a thing of beauty. It's just not the thing you want to drive through to us, you know, when you're going to the house. But it's so beautiful down there at the Rod and Gun Club, you kind of forget that Casey's is back up on the hill. And, you know, Casey's is a going concern. I mean, it's probably the biggest junkyard in the world. You'd see it on Google Earth. But anyway, John got us together. Myself, David Berg, Jim Rupert. Boy, I gotta think. We'll lose some names and words there. And his wife, the wives, Don Stahl and his wife. Of course, Faye was there. I got Faye wrong. I mean, that's her name. But I put a picture on Facebook. Could not figure out who she was. Well, you know, I'm past my prime. Things slip. Anyway, we had a wonderful time there. For those of the Zimbardi clan that I don't think John watches this. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, you tell him that old Gumfarb, that's who I am on here. But Richard said, thank you again. It was really great. What else did we do? Of course, we drove home. Same way we went up. Prattling away on the radio. My wife, you know, she's always had the opinion that, you know, the CB radio, you know, is just a worthless toy. You know, nobody with a lick of sense is going to spend any time on the CB radio. Well, those two little radios I put in the respective cars that allowed us to chat all the way up and all the way back. I think she's got a new, different idea. It's still a toy. I mean, she's not going to come in here and sit down and spend the evening rattling with my lunatic friends on the radio. But I think her general image of the CB, changed so much. It ain't bad. So I don't think I'm going to try to tell any stories this time. I've got one that I told John and them that about some chicanery that me and Dale pulled one time, and I'll do that next time. And by the way, I haven't been on here in 3 weeks, 3.5, maybe almost a month. Did you ever just decide, man, I'm just tired of that, or I don't want to do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. Well, time has passed. I think it's a month now. Maybe a little longer. I didn't want to do it. No reflection on any of you guys. Appreciate your participation. I noticed that I picked up 2 more subscribers while I didn't do it. But I'm getting back into it. I'm home. I'm back in my comfort space. That deck up there, trying to talk with the wind blowing and the kids throwing balls around and Tiana talking on the phone. I mean, here I got my own private little enclave. I can go and close the door, turn my lights on, and nothing's going to interrupt my train of thought. So I will get back into it on a regular basis. I do want to say that this is just a short political thing. This nutcase stuff that's going on down in Washington. This is just my opinion, and it is solely the result of a bunch of obstinate idiots that call themselves, well, we call them teabaggers. But if it wasn't for them and their nutso attitude about things, we would not be sitting here with the potential of defaulting, I think, 4 more days. They've got to do something in 4 more days, or this country will go into default. At the first of the month, which is, a bit off, there's about 60 million people out there that get Social Security checks, and they won't get them. The government won't issue the checks. And there's I meant to look this up on the computer and I didn't. But there's many millions of veterans that receive government funds every month, and they won't get them. Now, this can be a bloody disaster. I mean, you're probably talking 100 million checks, give or take. But these are not checks, welfare checks. These are not people that are sitting around saying my back hurts, and I need a disability. These are people that have gone out like myself. I started paying Social Security in 1947. 1947. This is 2013. And I paid Social Security from, it might have been 48. I had a paper route. And I made money. And they took Social Security out of that money. How many years ago that somebody figured out? We'll say 47. I delivered the Courier Express. You folks up at Sigel North that are in my generation, you'll remember Courier Express. Me and Robert Ellis, and then I think John Zimbardi. Once we got out of the habit, then he was into it. But I did something. From 47 on, I was in some kind of gainful employment. And during my summer vacations, I worked at the county highway. I was doing something all the time, and I paid into Social Security, and they're telling me now, well, hey, wait a minute, and I paid till 2003. And they say, well, geez, suck it. We don't have the money for the check. Let's see, 47, let's see, that's 53 years, and 2003, that's 56 years. And now they're going to tell me that they don't have the check. Shame on you, you bloody teabaggers. Boy, I mean to tell you, I hope there's somebody in your family that gets into real dire straits because of what you're doing. Anyway, I will get on here and be more regular. Me and my little bitty buddy. Thank you to all the people up there at Sigel North that made my summer so great. It really was. And ain't luck at all. I'm going to have many more. I got to get it back up there and run that golf cart. I mean, it's, you know, I can't get in a shape where I can't get up there and play with my toys. So, you folks have a fine one. Thank you for the folks. I'd use some names. There's a couple names I can't use. A lot of my Amish friends, you can't take pictures of them. You can't talk about them. You know, nothing. I would say, hey, thank you. But, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Somebody will tell them. They'll know who it is. Anyway, you have a fine one. I'll be back, yeah, probably next weekend. I'll get into politics. Boy, particularly if our nation's defaulted, you're going to hear me in a rage. Because I'm going to be after the Republicans and after those bloody teabaggers. And all my buddies here at Sigel South, they know that I can get after it. And they come back on me because they all think that this is just the greatest thing in the world. They want us to see. Anyway, have a fine one. Here's my buddy.